Many folks ain't never heard of me, so I'ma introduce myself by using some hyperboles. I am that voice that talks a tongue, but no one chatters back. They rather act like bladders acting spaz on rappers. Matter of fact, that's so real, I can't say it's like nah yet. Feelings that I caught made me feel that caution. Waiting for the day I get the silence I deserve. So I ain't talking oxen when I say I just wanna be here. It seems like everywhere I go, everybody there trying to steal the show. So I'm here with my plan. I gotta let him hear who I am. I wanna show him now's my time. Today's my day to make you say dang, cause I'm getting my way. It's my time to shine and it's okay. Man, I'm finally getting this show. I can fit it raw. Zizzy, y'all. In case you didn't know me, let me tell you it's a rap. Like I'm sick of eating hoagies. They try to lock this top notch down on the low key and provoke me. I stick my tongue at them like Yoshi. I got to show people I can come up and swag. And when they feel my presence, they gon' back up like that. They see me now, they hear me very loudly, crystal clearly. Now they all jocking, pole jocking, trying to be near me. But it's now no one's ever speaking but me when I talk, cause when I talk it's all for DJ IG. Dag, yo, it's only me and my team. Now we'll come with me and my team. Now we'll come with more flavor than a bowl of ice cream. Since the verse is ending, I'ma thank you all for listening. Taking time and witnessing. Now I'm finally glistening. Feeling like I'm Christian. Well, that might not be the word. Beg your pardon, y'all. I just wanna be heard. It seems like everywhere I go, everybody there trying to steal the show. So I'm here with my plan. I gotta let him hear who I am. I wanna show him now's my time. Today's my day to make you say dang, cause I'm getting my way. It's my time to shine and it's okay. Martin made him say that. Malcolm made him say that. Bill Clinton, oh boy, yeah, he made him say dag. I mean dag, do I gotta blab? Make some people mad just to grab me that precious glam like I'm Smeagol's hand.
One round ends tonight, where 9 drivers will continue on the road to the championship and where the rest will head home. But for all, the challenge is not only the points ahead, but for the track notoriously known for ripping the title hopes all apart. Welcome to the 13th race in the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series as we bring you coverage of the GGR Alabama 125 live from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway as we close the round of 14 right here on the KBueno Racing Network. So happy to have you along for our coverage. We're up atop this Talladega Super Speedway. My name is Kenneth Bueno to bring you it all. And over the course of the past 3 races, it's been a journey up and down through different types of tracks. And tonight ultimately is where it's all going to compromise, get together. We're going to slim it down from 14 competitors for the title this year only to 9. This is the first of 3 rounds that we'll experience in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series playoffs. And of course, what a way to end it than right here at one of the biggest and baddest tracks in all of NASCAR. We're going to be talking about the points in just a little bit, but before we do that, let's take a look at the anatomy of this racetrack. And when NASCAR built it back in 1969, they wanted a track bigger than Daytona, the one down in Daytona Beach, Florida, and they laid their eyes on Lincoln, Alabama, the area of Talladega. That's where they built this Talladega Super Speedway. 2.66 miles, 4.81 kilometers around this track. Of course, 4 turns as always. It is featured with 32 to 33 degrees of banking at every single turn, 16.5 degrees you'll find on the main trioval, and 3 degrees on the back straightaway. Also to mention, that start-finish line that we're so accustomed to seeing in the middle of the trioval, not there here at Talladega Super Speedway. It's just a couple of 100 yards further out from the direct middle of the trioval. It's in that chute between the exit of the trioval and turn 1. They wanted it to be a little bit further out, get closer to the fans, while also allowing the opportunity for drivers to potentially make a last-ditch effort to get by. That's where we've seen a lot of pivotal passes in racing history here, and where we've seen a lot of photo finishes. We'll be sure to see one here tonight. We've got a very large field, a lot of drivers on stake for what's going to be the win here tonight at one of the biggest tracks. But we also got to note, there's a playoff battle on our hands. We'll take a look at the point standings. This is 5th through 14th. We took a look at it just 1 week ago at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and things have changed dramatically since the drop of the checkered flag in Bristol, Tennessee. Now the cutoff stands only 2 points of difference between Ryan Martin in the 9 car, Shane Fuller, who drives the 57. They are both on edge. Shane Fuller still has a gap that he can overcome. 2 points only with a very large field. It's going to be an opportunistic area here at Talladega to be able to get it done, but he's got a lot of other drivers willing to take it away from him. Frederick Seagraves not too far. He's 9 points behind the cut line. Logan Pugh is 19. Starts to grow significantly when you get to the likes of Connor Hervilla and DJ Powell, 20 and 25 points away, respectively, from that cut line. And tonight at Talladega, I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the season when we ditched to Volusia Speedway just before the start of the playoffs. Drivers had this circled because either this is their chance to win, they've got it circled because they really want to avoid it. Want to be a little bit careful, and the playoff scheme matters a lot more. Also to know, Brayson Collins, Timmy Spatz, among the drivers that are relatively comfortable, but they would still need a solid day. They can't just lag back and let everything happen in front of them. They need a solid finish here tonight from Dega in order to ensure that they'll be part of this round of 9 that'll move on to Iowa 1 week from tonight. But as drivers are sat behind the iRacing official pace truck, it is our time to take a look at your starting grid, see exactly where every driver and your favorite driver will be lining up here tonight from the big super speedway in the conclusion of the round of 14. Aiden Kirker on the 39 returns to the series, this time with a blazing qualifying speed. 54.429 is enough to put him on pole here tonight, first to the green flag alongside 41 of Pierce Maffitt. We've seen him do well in this series in recent memory. We'll see if he can try and replicate some of that success here tonight at the Super Speedway. Dominic Howe in the 053. We've seen him on Super Speedways before across the iRacing service. I believe this is his first start in the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. He's got a time that's best for 3rd alongside Glenn Bundren. Good to see him back on the racetrack. We last saw him at the Darlington Raceway. He's going to try and have a better one here tonight, starting 4th, 54.458. Logan Pugh, one of the drivers that we'll watch for all race long. He is 12th in the playoff standings. We'll keep an eye on where he stands along with Jay Mulder, who's only 5 points above the cut line. They both line up the drivers in row number 3. Before you get to the drivers in row number 4, your playoff leader and the winner from 1 week ago at Bristol, Garrett White, gonna have a little more of a comfortable route here tonight from Talladega. He starts 7th. Ethan Workman alongside him in P8. Terry Mellum, Connor Hervilla among the drivers to the top 10 in row number 5. Hervilla, of course, one of the drivers below the cut line. We'll see if he is able to overcome all the obstacles here by the time the checkered flag waves. And remarkably enough, we've got a huge field, but only 11 drivers took time. Jarek Hernandez will be the final one that put a time on the board in Q. He is starting in P11. We'll look through the drivers who will start behind. Ones who did not take time in their 2-lap effort. Christian Visconti, multiple-time winner this season. He'll be alongside in 12th. Austin Dorn, Patrick Groover among the drivers to 14th. And Josh Patterson, Seth Groover, the drivers in row number 8 to P16. Gino Mero, Joe Berge along the drivers in row number 9 to 18th. Seth Warren will be 19th with Timmy Spatz rounding out the top 20. A very low starting position for Spatz, who's going to have to keep his playoff hopes alive. He's above the cut line with a solid cushion. Dimitri Maljos, DJ Powell on the drivers 22nd and 23rd. DJ Powell dead last in the top 14. He's going to have to really pick things up tonight. He's got a lot of work to do from that starting position. Caden Rife and Brady Cox will be back to the top 25 before you find Hunter Collier, Brayson Collins through 27th. 28th will belong to Logan Suyi in the 019. And then you'll have Ethan Harrison, Henry Clapper through their top 30. Final drivers in the grid include Ryan Martin, Jason Gallagher Jr., Nick Penna, TJ Lair, Jeremy Cook, Shane Fuller, Frederick Seagraves, Quentin Haley, and Aaron Giffen. It is a full 39-car field here tonight from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. So if you're worried about the gaps on the point standings, well, the gaps don't necessarily look too large with the amount of drivers we have in this race. Let's take a look at the weather just before we get started here tonight from Dega. It is a very warm afternoon in Sim, 83 degrees in the air temp. Track temp looking to probably surge over the 100-degree mark. Got winds fairly strong to the east at about 13 to 15 miles per hour. May affect some of the handling of the race cars, especially out of the corners and as air gets very turbulent. No humidity, no fog. Partly cloudy afternoon in Sim. It's beautiful, but it's hot. It means that track temp grip probably not going to be as high. It means we're going to have a lot of fun seeing cars all over the racetrack trying to find some amount of speed. If you want to keep track of the playoff drivers and where they are, where they may be in terms of the standings by the time this one is done, throughout the race you can look at those orange banners and the orange spoilers on the race cars tonight and to see which drivers will be the ones competing for the title, which ones are at mercy of being taken out, and which ones are just trying to keep their hopes alive. Pace truck makes the entrance on a pit road. It is Aiden Kirker, Pierce Maffitt, the 39 and the 41 among the drivers to take the green flag for the very first time tonight in this GGR Alabama 125. The 39 willing to take discretion. He'll hop on the gas. We're racing from Talladega. Quick early exit out of the gates for Aiden Kirker, but field has thinned out significantly since the drop of the green. A lot of drivers wanted to stay back. They wobble a bit, though, in turn 1 and 2. That was Logan Pugh, who went down, almost got into the 053 of Dominic Howe, but already got a battle for the race lead. How about Ethan Workman making the high side work? He's got help from fellow playoff driver. And just behind him, the 26 of Garrett White just came off of the win at Bristol 1 week ago. He's going to work with a playoff driver also in tow behind him on the bumper. 01 of Logan Pugh going to find momentum and is side by side for the lead in 3 and 4. So very clean start. A lot of drivers, especially on the back straightaway, if you saw it there, going on that first lap, a lot of them trying to take an easy approach, wanting to stay near the rear, stay in their own packs, and at least be tucked up there so that in the moment, in the event that a crash happens all the way at the front, they're going to be able to slow down in enough time and be able to get all of it away, or at least get away from all of it, especially if they're all playoff drivers. And right now, some of the playoff drivers not necessarily willing to stay behind. Of course, Logan Pugh, Garrett White among the ones that have been rather aggressive at the start. It looks like a 68, DJ Powell, we see him all the way at the bottom end of the chart in the top 14. He needs a very good race here tonight of the 39 car field that we've got spread from start to end in cars. The 68 looking for a very good run as he tries to hold out hope on the inside lane. And now here comes a block from Aiden Kirker, immediately parried by Garrett White, who swings up 3 wide. That's Joe Berge to help the driver there. It looks like the 0-2 Josh Patterson, so 3 wide. Aiden Kirker trying to make sure he does not end up in the sucker hole. We are 3 wide for P3. We went on board here with the winner just last week. Garrett White trying to hold in on that third lane. He's got 2 supers just behind him. Remember Joe Berge, he's a winner earlier this season. Got it at Auto Club in the final lap in 3 and 4. And the 0-2 of Josh Patterson, who was able to walk away with a win at the Volusia Speedway Park just before we started the playoffs. The 0-2, one of the playoff drivers here this evening, to make sure he can carry himself directly into the round of 9. We kick things off from Iowa in 1 week time. They're still about 3 wide, a couple of rows deep, but looks like Ethan Workman has found headway to the front. Still help from the 053 of Dominic Howe, who stayed there ever since the drop of the green. Looks like Jarek Hernandez, who started back in 11th. Remember, he was the last driver in qualifying to take time. He's now moved up significantly to the bottom of that inside lane. He's 3rd there as they are 3 wide still for 2nd. It looks like nobody wants to give an inch right there. It looks like Hernandez almost got punched out of the way as he was trying to give help to the 053. Look at the run on the high side. And here comes Garrett White to the race lead for the first time tonight. A solid move there by the Clemson number 26. Joe Berge now going to be the one left on the very high side. Aiden Kirker, no help directly in the middle. Looks like DJ Powell is the one going to try to assist here, but it's not going to matter that much. Joe Berge going to try and file down low. Maybe Dominic Howe can make it. It was almost 4 wide there going out of the trial. Well, Dominic Howe now going to make it 3 wide. Aiden Kirker's finally going to have some help. They're going to build some momentum here, 1 and 2. Can also find Pierce Maffin in the 41, who directly ducks down low, so only 2 cars in the middle. They're still trying to find a way up to the very front. 3 Toyotas manning the field. Looks like Hernandez thought it was all too scary up at the front, decided to immediately ditch, and now the 053 finds a way to the very front. There's a look on board from Dominic Howe as he holds on to the lead, trying to block all 3 lanes that are operating here from Talladega Superspeedway in the opening 6 laps. There's Joe Berge on the very top, Garrett White on the very bottom, all 3 of them being assisted by either a Chevrolet or a Toyota. The only Toyota giving push here is the one on the very top with Joe Berge as he tries to nose ahead. Looks like Dominic Howe may have that lap led this time by lap 6. And so far, very tight, very aggressive racing, but all still very clean in the opening 7 of what's going to be a 47-lap race here tonight from the biggest and baddest track in all of stock car racing. Also to mention, a lot of great cause efforts here tonight. With the amount of laps that we run under green, WORC has decided that for every lap they do run under the green flag circumstance, they would donate $1 to the humanitarian efforts over in Ukraine. And if you look at the hood on the driver, the 83s, he still runs 3 wide, has the flag of Ukraine, the blue and yellow colors there in the middle of where that N is for Nova Sim Racing. And of course, all the laps that we're running here green, of course, giving the efforts to the situation that's happening over in Ukraine. All of our support to the people who have obviously suffered over the past couple of weeks, and we hope that everything remains safe over on that side of the seaboard. We are now 2 wide here, this time by Aiden Kirker now aiming to take the lead on the top lane. He's got Logan Pugh behind. It looks like the help was not enough here as Dominic Howe is immediately going to back out of this lane on the inside, so he forfeits the lead. We'll give Aiden Kirker the opportunity to clear forward in front of Garrett White. Almost getting the block, and he's going to turn him. Going into 3 and 4. Big crash out of the 39. He's going to come back up the track And that will bring us our very first yellow tonight here from Talladega. It was a big hit to the inside wall for the 39. And the driver who started on pole absolutely gutted after a huge hit on the entrance to the corner on the back straightaway. Take a look at exactly how this happened. And it was just a small hit, small bumper there by the 39. It was given by Garrett White. You see the 39 finds the situation. Dominic Howell lets up down low, decides to give this space. Kirker tries to get there, but that point of the Toyota Supra on the very front of that bumper just gives him the slight shove, and that is enough to send him around. Here's another look at it. 39. It looks like he hesitates just a bit. That hesitation is enough to have the contact happen, and then obviously the big crash there with the 39 coming to rest into 33-degree banking there in 3 and 4 for 39 of Aiden Kirker. He looks like immediately out of this race, and it appears for everybody else. I believe no other cars involved in that incident, so fortunately for the rest of the field, they're able to escape. 39 of Kirker looks to be the only one involved. So Kirker will be all the way back to 36. So instead of 39, looks like a couple of drivers have ditched. So we are at 36. And tonight's still a very large field, and Kirker laying on pit road. Only other one I think in front of him is Jay Mulder, who needs to keep himself above that cut line. He is only 5 points. You mentioned it at the starting grid. He is 7th there in the standings. Only a couple of spots away from the exact cutoff here tonight. He's going to need to do a little bit better. He is on the lead lap though, but 35th on the charts. I think a result of it exactly what happened when everybody came down for at least to stay out of the mess. Everybody wanted to stay behind, stay single file near the rear of the field. And so that situation at least worked out for them on this first caution. So race off on pit road for the very first time tonight. Couple drivers taking fuel and tires to try to make it to the end. Joe Berge would be the first one out. Looks like Logan Pugh, playoff driver, is the first one to stay out. So really the only driver to not come down for service. Not sure whether he had an issue there coming on pit road or whether this is just a full-on call to stay out on track. I believe it is the latter here in this case. So under our first caution here out of 47 laps from Talladega, there's everybody trying to pick themselves back up through the iRacing official pace truck. We got everybody back together, and we'll be sure to go green in just a couple of moments time. I touched on it at the top of the show though, the difficulty of this round, exactly how tough it's been for the drivers, and it's been insane over the course of not really the playoffs in the round of 14, but really the entire season in total. You look at where we came, where we've been, and already where we're going to go in the next couple of races. Of course, started the season at Daytona, very controversial, very wild finish. We ended up having to sit down a green-white checkered scenario. Ended with Benjamin A. White taking his very first win. That's really the last we've seen of Benjamin A. White. Then Atlanta, Kansas became sort of the Christian Visconti train. Saw him go 2 in a row there at those respective 1.5-mile tracks. We saw Parker White take his first of 3 wins this season over at Phoenix. Las Vegas was a thrilling end to the event with Gino Mera holding on for his first checkered flag of 2022. We saw Auto Club, the great finish that was. Joe Berge, who is going to be lining up second here on this restart, the pass in 3 and 4 on the white flag to take it all away. Irwindale, a very chaotic race. Austin Doran, though, was able to get his first of 2 wins that he would collect on the season. Road America, our first road course race, and really the only road course race we've seen so far this season, came all the way down to Parker White leading the way and dominating the field before we saw Austin Doran take win number 2 on his season over at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Josh Patterson mentioned it a little bit earlier tonight during the green flag. He was the winner at the first and only dirt race we'll see here this season. We'll look forward into the future though. So Talladega, only super speedway we'll see in the playoffs. Really the second super speedway race we see in the entire season, apart from our season opener at the World Center of Racing in Daytona. And now just got a lot of short tracks and a lot of intermediates to get through before we end the season at Homestead of Miami Speedway. So next round, of course, Talladega tonight is the cutoff for the round of 14. We'll start the round of 9 1 week from tonight on March 17th. March 24th is where we'll find Nashville, but Iowa will be the first track in the round of 9, our second short track of the playoffs, and then we'll have Nashville Super Speedway kind of in the middle of a short track and an intermediate venue, 1.3-mile track over in Lebanon, Tennessee. We'll see that race round number 15, and then the 1.5-miler over at Charlotte. We'll see that happen March 31st before we conclude the season. 1 week after that, beginning of April, with Homestead of Miami Speedway, where we will have a championship for the drivers duke it out for the championship in the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. So a lot to look forward to, and a lot of great races we've seen over the course of the campaign. A lot of different winners, a lot of different styles of racing. Now it's going to come down to whether you've got some of the short track dialed in or some of the intermediates in as well. Very difficult round. Then I talked to Brayson Collins before we started here tonight from Talladega. Said it was going to be a miracle, quote, in order to make it into the championship four based on the round, with how difficult that first round was between Darlington, Bristol, and now tonight from Talladega Super Speedway. So we will double them up. We'll be going green flag racing this time by. Lights are out on the iRacing official pace truck. We'll have Logan Pugh stay out on that first yellow. He'll be leading the field back to green. Joe Berge, who was the first driver to pit with everybody else, he will now be on the outside of that first row, looking to get some help from Ethan Workman, who'll start outside row number 2. He'll be in fourth. Third will belong to the winner last week, Garrett White, and your playoff points leader. Pierce Maffitt rides up the top 5. Dominic Howell has fallen back to P6. TJ Lair, what a good move up through the field it's been for him. He's now 7th on this restart. Connor Hervilla needs some good points tonight. He is 8th. Dimitri Malandros, Hunter Collier to your top 10. So field will be in the hands of the Ford Mustang. Logan Pugh, the playoff driver, the first one in this top 5. He'll have Joe Berge to his outside, trying to take this lead away from him. It's a long route to the start-finish line past the restart zone. Logan Pugh will hop on the gas, so we're back under green in the GGR Alabama 125. Already big moves there between the front runners. Joe Berge got a big shove. Looks like it's from the 053. Dominic Howell along with Connor Hervilla, playoff driver who's third in that line on the very top side. Make it enough to nose ahead for the lead, but they've got good support on the bottom as well. Logan Pugh pushed from the 25 of Ethan Workman. They're going to move to the start-finish line. Dominic Howell may make it 3 wide before it's all said and done. Hervilla is going to follow. They'll put Joe Berge into the circle on that third lane. Howell versus Pugh back to turn 1. So stay side by side. Berge gets no help on the third lane, so he's going to have to fall back, find some space. He will behind the 68 of DJ Powell, but now it'll move another Toyota Supra. This time it's Powell in the 053 all the way to the front. Connor Hervilla with some rear end damage, but he's going to have help from 2 other playoff drivers as well. You see Hunter Collier in the number 98. You see Frederick Seagraves in the 95, and that green Chevrolet Camaro just behind you, right on board with Seagraves in the 95 car. Gonna find somewhere to make some move. You see him peek out of that third line, maybe get some clean air on the front nose of his Camaro. We're gonna stay in tow as Logan Pugh holds on to the race lead for a moment. Dominic Howell trying to take it away by just a hair. And so far, seen a lot of drivers willing to work with each other over the first 14. It looks like, at least so with the shortened race that we have here, as Dominic Howell will switch to the bottom. He'll duck in front of Logan Pugh, and he'll immediately take the race lead in 3 and 4. It seems as though with the shortened race like we have overall in this series, and especially at these super speedways, you're going to want to work with a lot of drivers, or at least experiment a lot more early in the race instead of waiting until the middle or near the very end. Just because the race is so short, you don't have a lot of time to formulate a plan. You've got to make them very quickly, and so why not try and make some friends on the opening dashes and the opening laps of the event in order to make sure that at least you've got somewhat a built of respect among yourself and your peers in the draft package, and of course just making sure that they may be there by the time you get to the checkered flag. Just trying to work together as best as possible. And that's one thing about these super speedway races. You need help. You cannot really operate by yourself. You cannot be a smooth operator with just one person in your catalog. You need a bunch of other drivers to help you. Maybe just one, maybe two. Doesn't need to be at least 7 or 8 like you're seeing on the very bottom side right now, but you do need help in order to get somewhere here across this Talladega Super Speedway. We talked about it in depth at Daytona to open the campaign, was that at those types of tracks, at these super speedways where you're practically full throttle, draft is where everything comes into fruition. You want to make a pass, you're going to need some draft. You want to make a block, you're going to need some draft as well. So many things that go into these super speedway races involve the draft, involve having other drivers involved in it. And so that's exactly what you need here, and I think it's good that Connor Hervilla is getting help from Collier, the 98 fellow playoff driver that's trying to give him assistance. Same deal with the 68 of DJ Powell. Well, all 3 of them orange bannered cars, all 3 of them running for the title. Of course, you mentioned Connor Hervilla in a very tight spot. Same deal with DJ Powell, both of them below the cut line, 20 and 25 points below respectively. And of course, you look at drivers like Hunter Collier in the 98. He is 8th, only 3 points above that cut line as DJ Powell finds help from Joe Berge in the 83. They're going to make a 3rd line here. A lot of help there. That's Pierce Maffett. A couple more cars trying to give assistance. They'll bail out immediately going to turn 1. They're 3 wide. Oh, about 5th on back. Move not going to work on the 3rd lane. Powell and Berge respectively will fall back in through the field. You're right on board here with 2nd place Logan Pugh just behind Dominic Howell. Pugh, of course, one of those playoff drivers, has had a rough stretch in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series, but especially over recent memory has found a way to do remarkably well, and is just trying to keep his consistency at its highest peak in order to get into the round of 9. Of course, that is going to be the first hurdle of many before you get to the championship 4, but it is still going to be a while there. Logan Pugh doing a very good job to open this race up. And you'll see the 2 different types of strategies here. Even if we look back, this is Logan Sulyi, the number 019, one of the drivers who started pretty deep in this field, started 28th. He's around the same mark in 27th as Quentin Haley in that 13 Chevrolet Camaro moves to the inside. You'll see these 2 different strategies come into fruition. The drivers who just want to lay back under this green circumstance, want to stay clean, and just want to get out of the madness for as much as possible. They're going to stay here. They want to stay near the rear and just kind of hang out, log these laps, and they don't want to be in the place where they have to consistently worry about a possibility of a wreck like the drivers at the front are right now. As Connor Hervilla gets shoved through the middle, he's going to have help from Joe Berge. Now Pierce Maffett, looks like Hunter Collier in the 98 going to fall through as Ethan Workman finds help from the 26, going to go to the outside. Guys like Collins, guys like Patterson, they don't want to deal with this. They don't want to deal with the chance that a wreck may come out of nowhere and really put a dagger into their playoff hopes. A big move there to the inside, though, between Garrett White and Ethan Workman. They do not want to be aggressive up at the front. These guys do. Logan Pugh needs those points. He needs to stay up here for as long as possible. It's the same situation for Frederick Seagraves. It's the same situation for Connor Hervilla, for DJ Powell, Hunter Collier. For all those guys, they want to stay at the front because that's where the points are. You're not going to get as many points to hold on to the round of 9 if you're back in P25. You're going to get all those points if you're up at the front. Chances are, if anything happens in front of you, you can have the opportunity to get a race win. Back on board with Logan Pugh. He now rides in about 3rd or 4th, kind of switching around with Dominic Powell as Howe has moved up to the very top. He's going to find friends here with Frederick Seagraves for a moment. He'll duck out for clean air before finally getting back to the rear bumper of the Toyota Supra and giving chase as Joe Berge will find space on the very inside of the racetrack. So everything's starting to unfold already through about halfway here in this GGR Alabama 125. And of course, if you want to end up in the conversation with us up in the broadcast booth, you can use hashtag AskKBRN. But any question you want to ask to us up here in the booth, we'll sure answer it to the best of our abilities, and of course as fast as possible. If you've seen it, scroll down to the bottom ticker of your screen. Join the conversation with hashtag AskKBRN for your question, and we'll be sure to answer it. Already got one by GS Warriors 30_24. Asks, how is Kenneth doing? I'm doing great. Very, very nervous right now with what's happening here at Talladega. We've seen some great racing, but overall, when you look at the context of the playoffs, it only makes things more aggravating, at least more irritating. But when something happens, you feel like you want to jump out of your chair immediately when something goes on, when somebody swerves up or down to make a move. And so far, thankfully, only one caution here in the first 21 laps. They're already 3 wide, by the way, around the top 10. That's CJ Powell, who tucked in underneath Christian Visconti, who got shuffled out of line. Aaron Giffen in the 4 is trying to give help. That's the 27 car just underneath. Actually, that is Terry Mellum in his car, just trying to make sure he can stay underneath, maybe get some help from Hunter Collier in the 98. And it looks like Frederick Seagraves, who was at once giving help to Dominic Howe, not doing so anymore. Now he's leading that group, pushing the 83 of Joe Berge. So, very interesting. Everybody trying to switch each other's places and maybe try something, whether they want to be the pushee or the pusher. This time, Seagraves gets a little ambitious, moves high up on the racetrack. And the orange spoiler, number 95, not going to find anybody willing to go with him. That's going to hurt him a bit, especially given the fact that Havrilla, Logan Pugh, and DJ Powell are all within range. Same deal for Hunter Collier. All of them are all just trying to surge over the cut line, or at least stay above it. And it's not going to help Seagraves there as he gets shuffled out of the way. Going to try to find space on the very bottom. Terry Mellum now moving to the inside. So as we move through halfway, still battle for the race lead on between Ethan Workman and Joe Berge. We'll take a moment to look at your race summary, which is of course brought to you by Supermix. So far, Ethan Workman nosing ahead. He is your race leader. We've completed 21 out of the 47 laps. Now come across the line 22 with 25 laps remaining. We've had a total of 9 lead changes, and of course, that is counting at a super speedway. It does not get rather stable. We've only had 1 caution involving the 39-year pole sitter tonight, Aiden Kirker, who has since moved to the garage. He is out of this race. So there's Ethan Workman in the 25, who's the driver in battle, going toe-to-toe with Berge for the lead. It looks like Berge has it for the moment on the very top. But Workman going to come down on the shortest way around the racetrack, and he's going to have the ability to move down low, stay down there. So far, it's been rather green, despite some of the aggressive racing we've seen so far. So as Berge and Workman continue to go side by side, noticing each other at the start-finish line, we'll take a short break and go side by side. But you won't miss a thing. You're watching coverage of the GGR Alabama 125 live on the KBueno Racing Network.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
Back live from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway, we continue our coverage of the GGR Alabama 125. Coverage right here on the KBueno Racing Network is brought to you by Dynamo Designs, your one-stop shop for all of your iRacing design needs. So far, Dominic Howe, who, by the way, was a little bit further back in the field after getting shuffled out, he is now back to the race lead. He's got Joe Berge in this instance just behind, and it's been rather chaotic, especially in that second lane. Frederick Seagraves has moved around significantly, almost got shuffled out a couple of times, but he's now leading that outside charge, moving against Joe Berge here for second. With DJ Powell, playoff driver, two of them actually running for the title, both of them working together here in 1 and 2. We've seen a lot of movement throughout the field, a lot of playoff drivers who need good races here, trying to make the most of it here at the front. Some of them laying a little bit further behind, anticipating a large caution. And as we approach 17 laps to go, the tension is not let down whatsoever. Just got around a lap car. That was Timmy Spatz in the 44, and that's going to hurt Timmy Spatz significantly because he came into this race total of 15 points ahead of that cut line. We've got a lot of cars here tonight from Talladega. Spatz is currently 34th, which is way more than 15 when you account for who is standing up at the front, most notably Seagraves and DJ Powell. But we've got a lot of drivers near the rear taking their chance at pit road. For the first time tonight, Shane Fuller gets into the 34 of Henry Clappert. They'll both go around. Fuller hits the inside wall, and this is not good for the driver standing one spot behind the round of 9 entry. Gets into trouble with the 34. Looks like he got loose on braking, and the car just snaps. We'll take a look right here with this 57, the Sunoco car you see in there, slowing down, no problem until right there. Car snaps. That's Shea Mulder in the blue and white Camaro that just goes by. And then Henry Clappert, absolutely nowhere he could go whatsoever to get out of harm's way. That is so tough for Fuller, who is now trying to exit pit road. Everybody who went down now coming out on their respective stop. And here come a majority of the leaders. There's Caden Reif, 59 of Jeremy Cook. Looks like TJ Lair, Logan Suyi, Seth Warren, Christian Visconti now coming out with Ethan Harrison. There's Grayson Collins, Josh Patterson, Jay Mulder, Quentin Haley. A lot of competitors here now coming out of pit road. There's Ryan Martin in the 9. Currently holds the last spot in the round of 9 so far. That Chevrolet, the Limeade Media color, is going to try to keep himself consistent here as we approach 15 laps to go. Now what it approaches here, or at least now what it poises in terms of the questions, is when these guys are going to come in. So far, they are about, at this point, 23 laps into their stint, so you should expect them sooner than later to come in on pit road. Of course, we had that caution in the opening stage of the race, which forced, or at least gave the opportunity for drivers to come in for service. That is not enough fuel, most likely, to get to the checkered flag. As of the moment, though, it looks like no hesitation there out of the leaders. None of them wants to come in at some point right now. We're looking to stretch it just a little bit further, but we close in on 10 laps to go. So now Dominic Howe, who was leading in front of Joe Berge, He's now side by side with the likes of the 83. He's now got help from the 95 of Frederick Seagraves, and there's really going to be a good testament of where they are on their strategy. There are a bunch of cars just in front of them. I think Glenn Bungeon might be the final one there, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, he's the final driver in this group, but there is a lot of drivers here coming out of 3 and 4 that are waiting to have their strategy come back into full circle. And right now, it is not looking like the case. Berge is going to look underneath the yellow line for a moment. Looks like one driver is going to come in on pit road. That looks to be Terry Mellum in the 27. He's going to be all solo dolo on pit road, and he's going to wait for everybody to come in. And that's one of the things here when you pit at these super speedways. You need to have people with you when you go in. You need to have people with you when you come out, because I mentioned earlier tonight, it's all about the draft, how you can manipulate it, and of course how you can use other drivers to your advantage, or maybe use others as a pick to get by somebody you're trying to fight with, especially when it comes down to the race lead. When you come out of pit road, when you're on that pit road speed limit, you need a couple of drivers around you in close proximity, because when you get back up to speed, you're going to need the draft in order to be competitive, and especially in most cases, to cycle back to the front, which is going to be the motive here for all these guys up here. Looks like a majority of them coming in. That's Dominic Howe, heavy on the brakes. A lot of them closing in. That's Aaron Giffen. Contact number 3 wide. Howe's going to get turned in the middle of pit road. Joe Berge is going to be the only one really left standing there, but that is huge for Howe and a couple of other drivers who may have avoided or may have been involved in complete catastrophe on pit road. Here are the drivers that have stayed out. That's Ethan Workman in the 25, Garrett White in the 26, Frederick Seagraves back in the 25, and it's only a 6-car train right now leading all the way back to what looks to be Pierce Maffitt, as there comes Connor Hervilla out of pit road, Glenn Bungeon, Pierce Maffitt, Hunter Collier, DJ Powell. They're going to get lapped, it looks like, or at least going to get passed for position here by the likes of Christian Visconti, Grayson Collins, and all these guys who have now banded up together on a single file train on the very bottom, tucked in on that yellow line. We approach 12 laps to go here in this GGR Alabama 125. Time is running out. It is getting remarkably close here as we close in on what's going to be the final laps in this race. There comes Ethan Workman and the gang up at the front. They're going to hit pit road for the last time tonight. While the Jack's not going to go up. It looks like a no-tire call. Berge's going to come out first, it appears. I believe he may have taken a second trip down pit road, so maybe a speeding penalty issued to the 83 tonight. Ethan Workman is going to come out first. He's going to have only, looks like, 3 or 4 cars, including Shane Fuller, to come out on pit road. So that is going to be a big dent, as here comes Christian Visconti, Grayson Collins, the entire pack, and it looks like undercut may have worked for him. So here's on board with Garrett White. This is them coming out of turn 2. Now going to start to merge on with the rest of the field. But it is only going to get tougher here because Garrett White only came out with 1 driver in the draft, and that was Ethan Workman, who was at one point leading this race. Everybody from Christian Visconti on back, they have almost a full 20 strong in their pallet. Now here comes a move. Christian Visconti going to back out of lane. It looks like suffering from some connection issues right now on the racetrack. So Grayson Collins will be the leader. Looks like a crash there, maybe involving Visconti. Might have hit the wall. Looks like we will stay green. For the moment, very interesting case there. Some smoke and some sparks appeared there on the outside safer barrier coming out of 3 and 4. But now, here is the moment of notice. Here's the moment of decision. Collins going to come around Shane Fuller. And now it's all about what they can do to these 3 right here. Dimitri Mandros, that's the Kool-Aid red and blue Ford Mustang there, the 3rd car in line. And then Garrett White, Ethan Workman, the next driver, is in tow. Here comes the draft, and here's a big split. Patterson's going to move to the inside. He's going to move the 05, or rather the 5 of Grayson Collins, out of the way. And so Collins falls just shy. Nobody's going to go with him. Patterson going for the race lead with 10 to go. We haven't seen much of Josh Patterson all night long, but this could be the move that gets him the race win. Fortunately for the 3 up front, they are not going to fall in the midst of the sucker hole with this second pack. They're going to stay keen up at the front. Everybody's going to maintain on the bottom. They're going to stay in that draft, and that may have been what saved the lives of the 25, the 26, and the 93. But given the stakes that they are right now, Garrett White, is your points playoff leader. Got the win last week at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So, in fact, he really doesn't have to have a lot of worries. He can go for the win. He can get into a crash. It doesn't matter. He's still going to be most likely in that round of 9 by the time the checkered flag waves. Ethan Workman, he's not a playoff driver. He's running for the win. Same deal with the 93 of Dimitri Manjos. But then you get to Josh Patterson, who's relatively high in the point standings with Garrett A. White. But this is kind of still at some crossroads, and then you look at other playoff drivers who may be in this as well. Think of Jay Mulder in the 51. He's got a lot of work to do tonight. Mulder came into this race only 5 points above that cut line where Ryan Martin was once holding it at the drop of the green flag, so he needs a good run. Gino Merrill also needs a good run as well. Merrill came into this race at least within the top 5, so he was relatively okay, but still, a lot of things online. Brayson Collins, he's within the top 14. He's relatively close to the playoff cut line as well. So a lot of moving parts here as we approach 8 laps to go from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Patterson finds headway for a moment, decides not to duck in front of the 25. Not enough space as he finds a push here from the 76. That's Brady Cox in his Chevrolet Camaro. And there's Dominic Howe, Joe Bergium on the drivers who may have been penalized here on pit road by their entrance. They're now 30th and 31st, about to be put 1 lap down by the rest of the field. And so their races have gone from good to sour very, very quickly here. Now we approach 7 laps to go. Can Patterson do anything to recover here on the 25 and the 26? They'll thin out just a bit. Main pack starting to fall through. Looks like many of them wanting to stay out of what could be some potential trouble here. That car is going to stay all the way back down low, so this could be a pivotal moment if they swing high. Cox and Patterson not going to flinch. And it looks like the inside lane is going to occupy Workman with a huge block. Contact between White and Patterson. They'll maintain it 3 wide in the triangle. That could have been ridiculously risky out of the main leaders. They pierce in, they flush the 053 and the 83 together, but that could have been huge as there was hip-checking contact between Garrett White and Josh Patterson as they're moving 3 wide. Now some other at the front, big crash now at the front. Looks like only Dimitri Manjos is involved. Not a big crash whatsoever. I kind of worked up on my words a little bit there. Caution flag waves for the second time tonight, with only 6 laps to go here from Talladega. The 93 this time involved as he was in the middle of what was pretty much 3 lanes on the racetrack trying to find his placement and just could not do it. Brings out the yellow. It looks to be a relatively harmless incident though, so I think most of the field is going to be okay. We'll see exactly what might have started it. Of course, the 93, one of the drivers who was kind of veering up and down on the racetrack. Remember, he was 3rd in line with the 26 and the 25 before they got caught by the main pack that had made the undercut decision. When it's actually right there, he made contact with what looks to be the 76 of Brady Cox. So see right at the exit of 2. Slide up the track. Cox comes down low. And the 93 goes for a pretty harmless spin. Luckily, no one else gets into him. Everybody was able to scatter in the right places at the right time. And Manjos goes from, what looks like 5th, probably way deep in the field with some contact. We're right on board here with the 93. This is just behind Garrett White. Contact is made. It goes for the spin. And it's just all about hoping nobody gets into him. Luckily, nobody did, and he held on to the brakes relatively cleanly. It was a good stoppage effort there by the 93 as he is able to keep his car collected. He will not need any extensive damage repair. Maybe some to the right side of the race car, but won't necessarily be too large as he will try to work his way back to the front. I believe he's lost all track position here, so it's going to be the negative effect here if you're the Ford Mustang in the 93, but still in this race, I think that's the biggest thing here at Talladega Superspeedway. Also mentioned, in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series, there are no fast repairs, so if you do get damage on your race car, you have to pay the time doing it down pit road. You cannot get a free car when you get damaged, so that's the thing. We've seen a lot of cars potentially get damaged here. A lot of them luckily have stayed clean. We've only had 2 cautions, this being our second. Aiden Kirker was pretty much the exemplary effort of getting into a wall, getting heavy damage, and not having a fast repair because his car was completely totaled. Engine was absolutely destroyed. Cannot get a free car after that. Aiden Kirker, after that incident, was out of this race, still behind the garage. So Ethan Workman, at the time of caution, is your race leader. And I first had some doubts about what Workman White and Dimitri Maundros were going to be able to do. The second pack were really clearly and quickly coming up through the pack and pretty much looked like they were going to swallow them like a shark does to its dinner. But luckily for Workman and White, I think they had some infighting between that second pack where Josh Patterson was, Christian Visconti was moving out of line, Brayson Collins, who also got shuffled out by Patterson in the 0-2. And then that just kind of stalled their momentum out, allowed White, Harrison, and Dimitri Maundros to find support on the bottom, and therefore it gave them a lucky break here. They made that pit stop relatively late with their pack and only came out with 3 cars, so you'd expect that the second pack would easily make work of it. But it didn't, rather surprisingly, and now Ethan Workman, Garrett White, and Dimitri Maundros, or rather Workman and White, with the exception of Dimitri, now have an opportunity to take a race win away here from Talladega. Again, in the playoff context, Workman not in it, so he's not running for the championship. This is all for getting his first win this season. He's been rather close a couple of times, so this could be the prime opportunity for him to kick in the door and get that first trophy of 2022. Garrett White, winner last week, he is pretty much relatively locked in via points, so no worries for that 26, and he's been rather aggressive and very, very clean up at the front of the field. Josh Patterson in the top 5, so more often than not, he will make this round of 9, but does not want to take any chances here after staying near the rear of the field for a good amount of this GGR Alabama 125. He now wants to be at the front, and of course, coming to the final laps of this race, what better way than to be in position for a win? He'll be restarting 3rd. Connor Hervilla, though, the biggest story out of the entire top 14 in the playoffs, because Connor Hervilla, along with DJ Power, the 2 bottom drivers in the playoffs, they're about 20 and 25 points respectively below the cut line where Ryan Martin sits. And Connor Hervilla and DJ Powell all night long have been ahead of Ryan Martin by a good substantial amount. Now it's slimmed down a little bit because of this strategy call. Connor Hervilla, though, in the catbird seat to hold on to this, and it may be the chance to snag his way into the round of 9 and continue a chance for a championship at Iowa in 1 week time. The only problem is Ryan Martin, who's on the cut line, he is 13th right now after pretty much hanging in the rear for most of the evening. So that's going to be the problem. That pillar there in the Live Media Chevrolet Camaro is really going to be the downfall of all these drivers trying to mount a comeback here. We're just going to see whether it all comes to fruition or whether chaos reigns over all. We've seen so many things happen here at Talladega, so many things happen at the super speedways. Of course, if you were listening a little bit earlier when we talked about a majority of the season, how that's gone. Daytona went in a situation like this. We were in green, white, checkered territory. We only had 1 attempt. We ended it under yellow. It was a very interesting call to the finish. And then Benjamin A. White was listed as the race winner. It took us a little bit to find that out. But it still was rather crazy, still was rather wild to find out. And tonight may be the same, and it may be amplified here with the playoffs on the line. So we'll run down the top 10. Before we go green, Ethan Workman is your race leader. Interestingly enough, he chooses the high side here when we hop back on the gas pedal and go up through the gears. Garrett White will be on the inside here in that first row. Brady Cox will give assistance to Workman here on this restart. And Josh Patterson will try to help the fellow Supra down low. They've worked rather well in the opening stages of tonight's GGR Alabama 125. We'll see if that ends up working out for him. Seth Warren wraps up the top 5. Connor Hervilla currently in the top 6. Gino Mero is 7th. Glenn Bundren is 8th. 9th, we'll go to Quentin Haley, who started deep in this field. Christian Visconti, 2-time winner this season, now racks up the top 10. So many questions left to be answered here from Talladega. We'll see if we can all write them down in a timely manner. Pace truck will make its way down to the entrance of pit road, and it'll be a rather long wait before Ethan Workman hops on the gas, so we'll be back to green flag racing with only 3 laps to go. Chevrolet up top, Toyota Supra down low. Playoff driver versus non-playoff driver on the first row, ready to bring us back to green. What could be the final restart in this GGR Alabama 125. Workman gets onto the gas rather early. We're back under the green with 3 laps to go. Looks like nobody in the outside lane wanted to go. It was an immediate move by everybody to move down to the bottom, make space, and at least wait for the opportunity to arise. But now, does Garrett White have something in the bag with Josh Patterson behind, or do they stay in tow with this 25 Ohio State Chevrolet Camaro trying to make a Cinderella moment happen as they come through 3 and 4? They'll get 2 laps to go. Nobody wanting to go up top. Actually, never mind. It's Glenn Bundren. There's Bundren on the very top. He's got help from only one driver. That's Visconti now bringing a third. That's Quentin Haley in the 13. So out of everybody, these are the only ones to try and make a move. Havrilla did not react in enough time. There's a side draft there by the 061 of Bundren. Now Patterson moves up top. 2 laps to go. Patterson looking for the lead out of 1 and 2. He's going to find a good push there. Visconti struggling with this connection once again. He'll try to find a way through the middle, but not going to get enough space. Here comes the 0-2 with a nose out front. Coming to turn 3 for the penultimate time. Bundren not going to clear down low. Workman going to stay to the bottom. Patterson trying to play the lane game. Now he's going to move down low in front of the 25. Playoff driver now moves his way to the front. But can Glenn Bundren find a way to victory lane? A big block by the 0-2. Gonna shuffle the 37 out of line. Big hip check. Workman goes around. They're 3 wide. Coming to the start finish line. White flag will wave with a caution wave out. Answer is yes. We will restart this race with 2 laps to go. As we have the big one here at Dega, and it all started with slight contact. Patterson, Ethan, Workman got together and then got everybody in it. I saw Visconti spinning in the middle of the track before the yellow flew. And as they were nosing to the start-finish line, basically there, the caution waves. And everybody will have to slow down and try and get themselves back onto race mode. As we'll see exactly what happened here. And it was very messy from the start. It all started really with this lane change by Patterson, just trying to get something to work on the high side. Saw the momentum build up by Bundren. You see him move up right there, but Bundren just tries to back out of the way, find a third lane, cannot do it. There's Visconti who moves down low. Then there's the contact between Workman and the 0-2, but really it started with the idea of Christian Visconti who went around. You'll see it here, moves down the track. That was contact really from Bundren that sent him further south down the track. He gets a hit. That's the 23 there, the Toyota Supra. Definitely, I believe, more cars involved. There's the 85. Looks like there's Katie Reif in the 79, able to walk away remarkably clean here. I saw the 85 in it. There's a look from Austin Doran's machine. This is further back in the field, sees the first batch of contact there, and as Workman comes up the track, this gathers more cars into it. And Workman, after having such a good night all race, looks like it may come to an end here as he gets involved in that incident. Actually, we'll see if Workman is able to get his track position back. So here's a look with Workman. Right there as Patterson dodges down in front of Visconti. 25 tries to merge back up, but he gets at the wrong time, tags the 85 car, and he goes around. And of course, everybody spinning on the track is enough to bring out the caution, but it just got really sketchy there. Even more contact near the rear of that first pack. And so everybody will be behind the iRacing official pace truck. We will have an official restart here with only 2 laps to go. With Garrett White up at the front, looks like Ethan Workman will not get his track position back, or at least we'll find out exactly what happened to the driver, the 25. Looks like he has actually pulled it behind the garage. Looks like his night is officially over. So even with really the lack of damage that the Chevrolet Camaro had at the time of caution, he will not be able to continue. And Workman, who has been close to victory lane multiple times in 2022, will not find that chance here tonight. And we'll have to work to 1 week from tonight where we get to Iowa Speedway. First short track of the round of 9. Second short track overall in the playoffs. Let's try to continue the season. Workman still searching for that very first checkered flag. So we are on the verge of what's going to be our very first and I believe our only attempt at a green-white checkered. Garrett White, who's going to look for 2 in a row, is going to be the first driver since Christian Visconti to win 2 races in a row this season. He's looking to do it at Bristol and the Super Speedway here at Talladega. Josh Patterson looking for his first asphalt win in this series. Remember, Patterson was the winner at Volusia Speedway Park, the first and only dirt track we visited in the campaign, the final regular season event. He's going to be starting in second. Brady Cox, who has found his way near the end, he found a way to strategize his way into the top 5, and Brady Cox has a chance to win. We've seen him do well over this season in little sprints. Of course, remember Phoenix, where he started up front, led a majority of the race before, unfortunately, being taken to the mid-pack, and I believe got involved in a crash at that point. Glenn Bundren, who was here 2 weeks ago in this series at the Darlington Raceway, didn't do well at the track, too tough to tame. Now he comes back for the Super Speedway, and all of a sudden he's got a chance at winning this whole deal. He's going to be starting 4th. Connor Hervilla, who just needs to keep himself here, needs an uneventful final restart, and he'll lock up a top 5, and that could be enough to get him in to the round of 9 1 week from tonight. Quentin Haley, who started so deep in this field, we didn't really see his name until the 30s in position. He is 6th right now. Huge move up for him. And the 71 of Gino Merrill, winner earlier this season at Vegas. Seth Warren in the 081 in his Destiny Toyota Supra has been around, just has not been in the spotlight. We'll see if he ends up there. DJ Powell, remember, he's in a similar situation to Connor Hervilla, only a couple of points behind him. He needs a great one. He needs to stay in front of Ryan Martin, who has since fallen all the way back to 25th. So this could be the door opening and the door remaining open for the round of 9. It's going to shut in front of Ryan Martin's face if it comes down to that. So a lot of storylines here from Dega. Field will double up behind the iRacing official pace truck. We'll be ready for what could be our final restart here in this GGR Alabama 125. We started with a Chevy up front. We're going to end on a restart with a Toyota up front. In fact, 2 Toyota Supras. All of them have worked well together over the course of the evening. But it's a free-for-all now. No team games, no friendliness. It's no mercy all the way to the checkered flag. So Garrett White, your leader. Josh Patterson outside in 2nd. Brady Cox will be 3rd. Glenn Bundren will wrap up the top 4. Top 5 will belong to Connor Hervilla. And it's Quentin Haley, Seth Warren, Gino Merrill, Brayson Collins, and the 68 of DJ Powell. We saw Ethan Workman get off of the gates a little bit early on the green flag in the middle of the tri-oval. Does Garrett White do the same, as he's got a lot of things on his plate in order to command the field back to this final restart here with only 2 laps to go from the last Super Speedway race in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season, and the final race on the round of 14. Garrett White will move on to the gas whenever he wants to. He's got help from Brady Cox. He's going to move up now. Green flag with 2 laps remaining. Looked like 26 of White may have moved up a little bit too early. The gap significantly large here. Now the caution immediately gets flown. It looks like everybody's going to fan out. So an incident looks like near the rear. Actually a big one there. There's TJ Lair. Looks like Ryan Martin involved in this one. Shane Fuller, Joe Berge. Maybe Aaron Giffen in the 4. Actually way too far behind, so I don't believe he was in it. But more than 3 cars got into this crash. And we'll see what happened here between the competitors. Try to get back in together. There's a look at Ryan Martin, who went around. Actually looked like they were about 4 wide in the rear of the field. There's Tyler Mellum. Just pushed Jay Mulder up to the wall. Then Dominic Howe got into Mellum, got into Ryan Martin. Then Howe goes around. They move down the track to TJ Lair. In fact, I was right. Aaron Giffen was involved in this crash. This looks like everybody was trying to move up. Everybody was trying to make moves, and they were about 4 or 5 wide before they even got to the start-finish line. There's a look at Martin. Found Jay Mulder on the very outside. Got a little bit vertical there, just a little bit. And the car just straight for the inside wall. I think this is good news if you're Powell and Connor Hervilla, because you need this to happen. As unfortunate as it is, you need those situations to come to life, because if not, you don't end up in the round of 9. You don't advance to Iowa with a chance at the title. And so that's going to work as a miracle for both Connor Hervilla, who is 5th, and DJ Powell, who wraps up the top 10. So we'll be under caution once again here from Dega. And as we'll move into the rules here for Super Speedway Racing, this is going to be our final attempt to end this race under green. They gave us here at the WORC Series, giving us 2 green-white checkered attempts. Of course, had the controversial finish at Daytona only because there was 1 attempt at a green-white checker to end the race, and they immediately went under yellow as they were trying to get to the green. This time, though, extra 1 on tap. So if we do end up in a situation like this, we'll have our extra restart on tap. But after that, we will end this race under yellow if we end up in that given scenario. So the couple of drivers involved in that, Aaron Giffen, Joe Berge, Dominic Howe, Ryan Martin. Could also count potentially Jay Mulder in that as well. Tyler Mellum in the 27. He also ends up in it. And a lot of them having great races up until this point. When you think about Dominic Howe and Joe Berge, the route that they've taken tonight, how aggressive they were running for the win. Of course, both of them not running for the title this year in this series. So they're just running for all the marbles, going for whatever they can. And, of course, they've got nothing to lose. Unfortunately, though, it was the speeding penalties given down pit road. They were a little bit too quick on the entrance. Got together as well. They were about 3 wide, making contact. And then penalties were issued. They both had to come down in extra time. They both ended up 1 lap down as the field came by. And then Berge and Howe, who are now pretty much stuck in the hornet's nest, find their way in that incident. I think, for the most part, they're going to be able to continue here from Dega, so it won't be the biggest problem if you're those guys. But given how the race has gone all night long for them, they're pretty much wishing that they were up here at the front, ready to take a race win away from anybody that tries to move forward. So we'll stay under caution here. This time, I believe, by the time we get to the start-finish line, we'll get the official 1 to green signal. The lights will flicker off for the iRacing official pace truck, and we will go green with 2 laps to go, and it'll be our final attempt at a green-white checkered. But as we're still under yellow, I want to remind you that coverage of the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series and this GGR Alabama 125 is sponsored by Dynamo Designs, your one-stop shop for all of your iRacing design needs. They can cater to any style you like and can ensure you will look good on track, all starting at just $5 per scheme. Message Josh Patterson on Discord at Josh Patterson #9212 or on Facebook at JP Designs to get him working on your iRacing design today. I think we've timed those Dynamo Designs ad reads well, just because majority of the time when we do mention that, Josh Patterson is either near the front or in the race lead. We talked about it, I think, at Volusia a couple of weeks back, where I mentioned that ad read right at the moment where Josh Patterson was up front in contention for the win. And here he is once again. He is looking for his 2nd of 2022, and that will tie one other driver this season, and it will be Christian Visconti, who also has 2 this season. Actually, they're also going to tie a 3rd driver, Austin Doran, who also has 2. Parker White, the wins leader this season, he's got a total of 3, with his most recent coming just 2 weeks ago at the Darlington Raceway. So lights are out on the iRacing official pace truck. We will go green with officially 2 laps to go. And as per green-white checkered rules, we'll try to get this one under green. If not, if the caution does come out, we will not have the opportunity to re-rack them and go again. That will be the end of the race. Whoever is scored as the leader at the next timing loop will be considered the checkered flag holder here tonight in the GGR Alabama 125. What's going to make things more interesting on this restart is that per WORC rules in every single race, if a caution happens within 5 laps of the restart, we go single file going back green. So after most of the night was filled with green flag racing, was filled with pit road strategy, now we've got a chaotic race on our hands, and now we've got single file racing. So what could this do for the likes of Patterson and company to get by? And in fact, does this put more pressure on Garrett White, because he doesn't have help from the outside? They can't sim around, and he can't have guaranteed help. Those guys can just ditch him if they have a better start. The only thing is that Patterson would need Cox and others to go with him, and they cannot have anybody ditching back down low to give Garrett White any sort of bump drafting opportunities. So Garrett White is going to have the opportunity here to move up to the front and and probably not move out too far ahead just because the draft is really going to get them by the time they come out of turns 1 and 2. And then we'll see. We'll see if a move happens with 2 laps to go on the back straightaway, whether it happens coming to the white flag or whether it's on the white flag out of turn 4 like we've seen many here at Talladega, and even then some. The trial moves for the race win after the last corner. So Garrett White will have discretion here. Josh Patterson in second, Brady Cox third, fourth to Glenn Bundren, Connor Hervrilla, who needs to stay here to get into the round of 9. He rounds out the top 5. Everybody single file up against the outside safer barrier. Bit of a check up there. It looks like Seth Warren got into a bit of a moment there. That was in front of Gino Mero, but luckily they're going to be able to keep it all collected. Garrett White will keep the rest of the field on their toes. He'll be the first one off and away. They'll get to the red lines in the restart zone. They'll wait a little bit longer. It looks like now Garrett White will start to hop on the gas. Or back in the green from Dega. 2 laps to go in this event. Everybody immediately moves down low. That was a block that could have gone severely wrong for Brady Cox, who in front of a charging Glenn Bundren, who tried to give the back bumper shove to him. And everybody all separated out of turn 2. Patterson trying to make a move up high. He's going to move down low. Blocks by the 26. Not successful. They're 3 wide for third coming into turn 3. Connor Hervrilla, how about him trying to make a move all by his lonesome? He's going to find some help. That's Seth Warren and Quentin Haley. Maybe they try to split him through the middle. Indeed, they will. Hervrilla will have absolutely no help. They'll move to the white flag. Caution flag will wave. And Garrett White, as of the timing loop, will win the GGR Alabama 125 from Talladega. Looked like Dimitri Moundros involved in an incident. He immediately tows to pit road. We're going to look at exactly what happened. Maybe it did not involve. The driver of the 93 will take a look. This is Dominic Howe, Joe Berge. This is them coming across Frederick Seagraves and Tyler Mellum. They just slowed down. I'm not sure whether somebody near the rear, maybe Timmy Spatz. Actually, indeed it was. So Dimitri Moundros is involved in this. Got into the 44. Spatz, who's had a rough night since the drop of the green. He ducks down low in 3 and 4. There's the contact, and a single car incident will end this race. There was Garrett White at the time of caution. There was Josh Patterson alongside. And Garrett White, after having a majority of the season without a win and leading the point standings with the most consistent finishes, with the most podiums out of anyone, Garrett White finally is able to celebrate once again. This move pretty much locks him in to the round of 9 after what was a great ending to the race at Bristol. And Garrett White, the first driver to go 2 in a row since Christian Visconti did it in race number 2 and race number 3. So that's it. Checkered flag will wave. Barney the flagman will have it in hand, and for another time this season we will end this race under yellow. Garrett White, your winner. Josh Patterson, strong run all day long, and he's going to end up, I believe, in the round of 9 as well. Second place for him. How about Glenn Bundren in third? We get to talk to the driver of this Ford Mustang when we get done with the interviews out of the top 2. Brady Cox in fourth, and Connor Hervrilla wraps up the top 5. What a finish that is for Hervrilla, who with that run, I believe, will secure himself into the round of 9. As Ryan Martin finishes this race in 27. Here's Garrett White coming out of turn 4 all by himself. And we talked to him at Bristol, and he expressed how ecstatic he was to win one race. Now I wonder how it's going to be now that he's won 2. And we'll move on to the round of 9, where he will continue to run for WORC Dynamo Design's National Series Championship. Garrett White burns it down from Talladega, but as he continues his celebration, we'll take a look at your full field results, see exactly where everybody came home after 55 laps complete. Garrett A. White gets a second straight win here, goes 2 in a row, second win of the 2022 season. Josh Patterson, despite some resistance to move to the front, he is now in second at the end of it all. Glenn Bundren moves into third. Great run for the 061. I think definitely redeemed himself after Darlington 2 weeks beforehand. Brady Cox ends up in the top 4. He's in the 76 car in that position. Connor Hervilla, one of the biggest stories all night long. Same deal with the driver who finishes 9th. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Connor Hervilla, though, this finish, this run tonight may have brought him into the round of 9 and may have kept his playoff hopes alive as well. Quentin Haley, who started so deep in this field, 13 car ends up P6, a great run at the end for him. How about Seth Warren? Haven't seen much of his name over the campaign. Finishes 7th. Gino Merrill, your Vegas winner, gets a great result at the end of Talladega, survives for 8th. DJ Powell, also a driver who could potentially end up in the round of 9 by the time we finish off with the points here after the checkered flag. And Ethan Harrison in the 77 rounds out your top 10. Hunter Collier bounced around the field a couple of times, but he's good enough for 11th at the start-finish line. Brady St. Collins had a good race, pretty much overall, kind of hanging through the back, not involved in too many incidents. The driver who started 5th, actually here tonight, in the point standings at the drop of the green flag, 15 points above the cutoff. This most likely should keep him above it. Nick Penna in the 52 will be 13th at the end of it all. Logan Tsuyi in the 019, he'll be 14th. Austin Dorn in the 55, two-time winner this season. Could not find super speedway success, but still good enough for top 15. Solid effort tonight. Henry Clappert got involved in a pit road incident with Shane Fuller on the brakes, but came back for P16 in the end of it all. Caden Reif in the 79, he's 17th. Pierce Maffitt is 18th. Frederick Seagraves in the 95 is 19th. And Terry Mellum in the 23 rounds out your top 20. Joe Berge, after running up front for a majority of this race, he's 21st at the end of it all. Same deal with Dominic Howell, was 22nd. Both of them leading a good amount of this race, staying up front, being rather aggressive. Pit road speeding penalty, though, and a green flag stops pretty much put them out of this one, and they end up there just behind the top 20. Jeremy Cook in the 59, he is 23rd. Jason Gallagher Jr. in the 024, he is 24th. Jay Mulder, the Canadian, 25th. Maybe not the run that Mulder was looking for. We'll see if he advances to the round of 9. Enough with that finish. TJ Lair in the 85 caught up in a couple of incidents tonight. Unfortunately, near the end, he is 26th. With Ryan Martin, the driver we were watching for pretty much all race long, 27th. And that may have taken him out of contention for the championship here this season. Logan Pugh, despite a strong start, did not get the finish he was looking for. He ends up 28th, and that could seal the deal for his championship hopes as well, as he was about 19 points going into tonight below the cut line. Christian Visconti, as strong as he was, suffered some connection issues, dropped to 29th after being involved in a crash. And near the end of the race, same deal with Aaron Giffen. They are both one lap down, 29th and 30th. Timmy Spatz is one lap down in 31st. That may have done it as well for Timmy Spatz. Not the evening he was looking for at all. Same deal with Dimitri Malandros. Ends up in an incident with Spatz near the end to bring us our last yellow. 2 laps down. Shane Fuller also 2 laps down. Jarek Hernandez 46 laps down despite a good P11 starting position. He ends up 34th. Aiden Kirker, your pole sitter tonight, got involved in an early incident, brought us our first yellow after trying to block in on the inside. 35th is where he'll land. Ethan Workman, though, a couple laps behind. He is 36th at the end of it all. Patrick Groover and Seth Groover, I believe, didn't even start this race. Unfortunately, both of them end up 37th and 38th. The final drivers in this full field tonight. So, as Garrett White moves on to celebrate, it is his second win of 2022. And it's our time to talk with him in Talladega Victory Lane. It is Garrett White in the 26 into the W station for the second time this season. Garrett, after Bristol, the excitement was there. The hype was there. Then came tonight, as wild as it was. You move up to the front. Caution comes out near the end. And you now win 2 races in a row. First of all, walk us through how that feels.
I can't believe my luck has changed, man. This is unreal. Yeah, on that last restart, obviously it was single file, so, I didn't want to get out too far ahead of Josh because he would have had a run off the backstretch and tried to make a move there. And then we got to close to the white flag, or we might have got the white flag, I don't know. And then the caution came out, and I was like my excitement started running in, and then, I kind of took a deep breath and realized that we got it done. So, Unbelievable, man. Never thought we would come back and repeat like we did, but we did it.
Of course, you're able to get it done in the final laps, and obviously this race, Talladega, a lot of people were circling it for many reasons. Of course, here in the broadcast booth, talking about the cutoff from the round of 9, and you coming off the win last week at Bristol looked like you were pretty much locked in via points. You just needed a decent race, just needed an uneventful finish, and you would still be able to compete for the title by the time we get to Iowa in 1 week time. Give us your thoughts on what the expectations were going into tonight, and ultimately how you feel after this win, because it looked like you didn't need the win. You still got it, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, obviously, when you have a good points cushion to the cutoff, it makes Talladega racing, or even plate racing in general, less stressful, and then you can go out there and compete for the win. And that's what we did basically all day. And we put ourselves in a position there right before the green white checker, the caution before. We were, I think, in third, and we were able to get the lead after Josh and Ethan Workman had some contact. So we just kept ourselves in contention all race, and that's basically how we got it done.
Well, you're the first driver since Christian Visconti this season to win 2 races in a row, so I know that must feel good given the start that you had without the win, and now that you've got 2 on your belt moving into Iowa. Now we move into a very interesting round. Of course, Iowa, second short track in the playoffs, in Nashville, then Charlotte before the Championship 4 race happens at Homestead. And many could argue that this round, Darlington, Bristol, and tonight at Talladega, was pretty much the hardest round out of any. How do you feel moving into the round of 9, and what your thoughts are, what you're going to do to ensure that you'll be a part of the Championship 4 on April 7th?
Oh, yeah. Definitely this round was the toughest. We had, a very tough track in Darlington, and then the half mile of Bristol, which, there's mayhem at every corner, it feels like. And then obviously Talladega with, the big one, the dreaded big one's going to happen. So, yeah, this was the hardest round. Getting through that one is really important. And then I look at the next round, and, I think it's Iowa, Nashville, and Charlotte, which is pretty good tracks for me. So hopefully we can carry this momentum going forward and try to get a few more wins. And obviously the goal is to reach it to Homestead, and I think we have a really good shot at it.
Well, nothing quite says momentum as 2 wins in a row. And Garrett, you are a 2-time winner in this series. 2 times in a row, you get to head to Iowa with those 2 checkered flags in hand. Before we let you go and send you off to the Cornland 1 week from tonight, anybody you want to thank for making this run tonight possible?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to thank Whiteout Sim Racing once again for giving me the opportunity. And, thank you for an amazing broadcast. I always like to go back and watch it when I do good, I guess. And you do an amazing job, so thank you.
We certainly appreciate the support, Garrett. Of course, on behalf of the team, want to congratulate you on this win here tonight from the big bad Talladega Super Speedway. Hoping to see you at Iowa, and of course, wishing you the best of luck on your continuation to the Championship 4.
Yep, thank you.
That's Garrett White, 2-time winner this season, back-to-back. This time, as Drake would say, the Clemson machine heads back to victory lane this evening from the Super Speedway. We'll move over to second. Still a great run out of the 0-2 Josh Patterson, but just could not find his way there at the end. We'll talk to the driver of the 0-2 Toyota Supra, who ends up just behind your race winner. Josh, I know that those restarts very hectic. Of course, only 2 green-white checkered attempts, so not as much leverage. What did you feel you need there in those final laps to be able to get to Garrett White and take this one away?
I need a green flag, man. I just wanted to be able to get 2 laps of racing in. It was really fun battling up there. I got to apologize to Ethan Workman for dooring him. I wasn't meaning to do that. I was trying to block Christian in the middle lane there because he tried to get under me, so I tried to block him. I guess I went a little too far and got into Workman as well. So apologize for that. But no, it was really fun racing those guys up there. I feel like, I know Glenn was probably going to work with me, so was Brady. So I think that we could have gotten around Garrett at the end there, but I just didn't have the laps to do it. I was going to wait till the last lap, and then, it sucks because I know Dimitri is a good friend of Garrett, and it was clear that was an intentional wreck at the end there. I mean, talking to Garrett, he said he wasn't in the call with him, so I'm not really sure what to think. But, it just sucks that the race had to end like that. It sucks that we were really clean the whole race, and then the end was just, bad. Just, caution filled. So that always sucks. But, no, really happy to come home with second here.
course, very chaotic near the end, but surprisingly enough, a lot of green flag laps. Even before that, we had some green flag strategy, and even though we had some cautions here and there with the first two, it looked like for a majority of the race, when you guys were 3 wide, sometimes 4 wide, mostly 2 wide, looks like everybody remarkably kept it clean. For you, how surprised were you, especially with the emotions going into tonight's race and knowing you just had to cap it off for the playoffs again to the round of 9?
I mean, from being kind of up front at the front of the race, I felt like everybody was actually a lot more calm than, I usually experience in these super speedway races. So I had a feeling we were going to get a good green flag run in. And on that run, me and a couple other guys pulled out a pretty good strategy. We short pit everybody and ended up getting out close to the front. So, it allowed us to go from the way back of the pack to all the way up front. So, that was really good. Yeah, so I got to thank those guys a lot because, I wouldn't have been able to be up front, without them. But, I mean, my race in general is just about pacing myself. And, that definitely helped me get up to the front at the end there. So I'm just looking to get through the next round. And, we did that with flying colors. So
now the next round approaches. Iowa, Nashville, Charlotte. Of course, with this second place finish and with the way you were in the point standings even before tonight, you're going to be a part of those drivers moving on to the next round. What are your thoughts on those 3 races and how you feel you're going to accomplish the goal of getting into the Championship 4 in a couple of weeks?
I think those 3 races are definitely a lot less hectic than the last 3. So I'm excited about that. Excited to, rely more on skill than luck. But, I do remember, that it is only 9 drivers, only 4 of them make it to the final round. So, where last round we were looking for top 10s, now we're going to be looking for top 5s. And, I will have the luxury of, having that points buffer with the regular season championship going into the round. So I'll get a couple points from that. But, yeah, just looking for top 5s, looking for consistency, and all tracks that I'm kind of decent at. So, we'll look to see how well I can do.
A lot of optimism, no doubt, going into this round of 9 before we get to Homestead of Miami Speedway on April 7th. Josh, before we let you go, here from Talladega Super Speedway, anybody you want to thank for making this all happen?
Yeah, I got to thank everybody from the United Republic of Painters and Nick Pena for coming on tonight and being the primary sponsor of this car. Got to thank everybody at Dynamo Racing, powered by Limeade Media, Dynamo Designs, Limeade Media, Belfour Pocket Restorations, Patriot Clutches, GGR TV, Vulture Racing Engines, Limeade Media, the Keystone Corner 704 Sports Update. Got to thank you for coming out and broadcasting every week for us. Your broadcasts are always amazing. Got to thank Racing for putting on the league and letting me be an owner as well. And I got to thank everybody for coming on track tonight and giving me a great race.
Well, we certainly appreciate the kind words, Josh, and on behalf of our team, I want to congratulate you here on this second place finish from Talladega. I think everybody, including us, very happy there's no more super speedway racing because the chaos it dialed down a bit. I think our blood pressure monitors were shooting through the roof, especially in those final laps. But of course, Josh, thank you again for taking the time to join us and wishing you the best of luck in this round of 9 next week.
Thanks a lot, Kenneth.
That's Josh Patterson in the 0-2. The Toyota Supra ends up in P2 just behind Garrett White. Great finish for the playoff driver who ends up in second. Will advance to the round of 9. This is going to be the outlier here, though. Third place, not a playoff driver, but it's Glenn Bundren. First of all, Glenn, of course, it's been a while. Great to speak with you. But walk us through this race here at Talladega. You started 4th. It started well for you. Kind of bounced up a little bit up and down through the field. But you were there at the end. What did you feel you need to take the checkered flag?
To be real honest, I was going to push Patterson to the win because me and him were PMing the first match checkered because I noticed that he was in the playoffs. I was going to push him to the win. But yeah, it's been a long time since I talked to you, dude. I forgot what your voice sounded like. So yeah, I'm sick right now. So that's awful. But yeah, dude, it was just kind of a crappy way to end the race. I mean, there was 15 minutes left in the session, but oh well. That's what you gonna do? But I don't really understand if we have 2 green checkers or 3 green checkers stuff. But it's not my call. But it's awesome to get a podium finish here, 3rd place. So yeah, we'll take that, and probably my last start in this league because I don't want to interfere with the championship battle. So yeah, it was a fun race.
Of course, understandable why you haven't shown up that much, especially in these recent rounds. And last time we saw you was at Darlington. Very tough track. a track that really caught a lot of people off guard in certain places, and you unfortunately didn't have the greatest race. Was this a way to kind of redeem yourself in a way? The Super Speedway tonight was just a way to kind of say, hey, didn't have the best run at Darlington, but tonight will be the night. Tonight will be the night I at least can get a win or finish well.
I got put into barrels on the pit stop at Darlington, so I didn't really have a chance. But yeah, it's pretty a good redemption shot. You know, I was trying to get Patterson to win again, like I said, but it just came out 2 spots too short tonight. But awesome for a bunch of Lawn Care and Blaze Designs to get a top 3. Also, we got to run Francisco's League here in a couple minutes, so that's gonna be fun. Hope to see you there. But yeah, awesome.
I think that's good. You've got this Talladega race tonight. You got a Daytona race in another league, so you're still in that Super Speedway mindset. I think it's good for you, at least as a little bit of a warm-up before that league send it, of course. But Glenn, I will keep the interview short, of course, so you've got another league to run it a little bit. So before we let you go, anybody you want to thank for making tonight's run happen?
You for broadcasting. I want to give a props to Grayson Collins for having a meeting with Jesus with everyone. That was awesome to hear. You like I said, Blaze Designs, a bunch of Lawn Care, the whole people at RDM, Riley, Sam, Ryan, some elite setup shop. Go get your setups in elite or Rocket Fast. They got Michael Conti there, so yeah, pretty good.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time, Glenn. Of course, always great to talk to the man of Bungeon Lawn Care, and of course,
yes,
wishing you the congratulations tonight on the podium, and wishing you the best of luck. Hopefully, the next time we see you here on the KBueno Racing Network. Much love. We'll hope to see you next time.
Yep, thank you.
As Glenn Bungeon in the 061, although it shows the 37 here tonight on his race car, he ends up in P3 at the end of it all from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. So at the end of it all, Garrett White, your winner. Second time in a row that he does it here. Gets to victory lane. Got a lot of momentum. Rising high on what's going to be the start of the round of 9 over at the Iowa Speedway. This is where we're going to head in a couple of weeks' time for all the rest of the races until Homestead of Miami Speedway. We've got the second short track of the playoffs at Iowa. Of course, we get to Nashville Super Speedway. That's going to be a very interesting track. First time we see that venue introduced, and then we'll head to Charlotte before we close off the round of 9. We'll whittle it down to the championship 4, and those 4 will go head to head at the Homestead of Miami Speedway in South Florida. Race 17 on April 7th. You won't want to miss it. All of those races, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern. You'll find it right here. None other than the KBueno Racing Network YouTube channel to find it. So a great race here at the end from Talladega. Garrett White ends up winning 2 in a row. We'll see if he can try to get 3 in a row. Coming to Iowa, round of 9, 1 week from tonight. And that does it for our broadcast of the GGR Alabama 125. I want to thank Grayson Collins, Josh Patterson for all of their hard work here at the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. For all of us here at the KBueno Racing Network. For Francisco Bacchial, for Keelan Belsha, for Charlie Meyer, and myself up in the broadcast booth, Kenneth Bueno. I'd like to wish you all a good night. Stay